What's happening, guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Can you feel it? Can you feel the God candles loading? I know I can. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on my screen, a lot of things on my radar and everything just seems to be pointing towards one hell of a July. So these are the things I'm seeing. Zero hedge. There hasn't been a red July in the past decade. Decade. And all the positive catalysts seem to be lining up, getting ready to hit all at once. We had that big, beautiful bill pass, and then I'm seeing all these things. Secretary Bessent, there will be a flurry of trade deals going into final week before July 9th deadline. U.S. and India to announce new trade deal very soon. Zelensky and Putin open to meeting together to discuss ending the war. Tokenized stocks are now live on Solana. Robinhood launches ETH and Solana staking. It's all happening at once, you guys. Before we dive into more, just so you know, we're going to go through a couple more things of the news. We're going to talk about the charts. I'm going to go over some trades that I made. But before we dive in, like, comment, subscribe. These things help me grow my YouTube channel, which I would like to do. So if you could do that for me, big thumbs up. Thank you. All right, speaking of Robinhood, you probably heard that they are tokenizing private stocks, and then OpenAI came out and said, I don't know anything about this, be careful, right? Joseph Carlson, I think, hit it out of the park. He gets it. He said, instead of getting upset that people are finding a roundabout way to invest in the outcome of your company, why not just go public and give everyone the same opportunity Mark Andreessen, Brad Gerstner, Peter Thiel, and other elite investors have? And that's exactly, it's so funny to see. SpaceX was also the other, stock that got put out there by Robinhood. Elon Musk is like, good, okay, good, go ahead, do it, don't care. And then OpenAI, Sam Altman has like a meltdown over it. So, yeah, I like Joseph Carlson's take here. Okay, what else was good? The payroll jobs numbers were very good this week. However, something I'm keeping my eye on, almost all those job ads, government. So much for Doge. Seriously. So Doge, we barely knew you. Okay, trade. So a couple weeks ago, I put on a trade down here. This is the XLV healthcare fund. I've been talking a little bit about healthcare. I don't know if you guys have ever done a portfolio back test, but healthcare is my favorite defensive sector because it doesn't slow down your portfolio if you're in a really big growth cycle. So like say the stock market, the NASDAQ's doing great. Having some XLV healthcare in your portfolio doesn't seem to slow down the growth. But you can even look in 2021 and 2022 and a bit of 23 when the market was doing its dip. Healthcare was pretty much flat. So this is my favorite sort of hedge to put on my portfolio. And the last couple weeks, the market's been really hot. So as bullish as I am going to get into a couple technicals on this video that are giving me some pause in the very near term. But just wanted to update you on this trade. In a couple weeks, I made 3-4%, was able to protect, in my opinion, portion of my portfolio as well, just in case there was a dip. I am slowly now DCAing out of this bounce. I don't feel yet that this is the market top or we're anywhere near the market top. We have made a new all-time high on the S&P, and that actually technically means that we have entered a new bull market. So I'm slowly DCAing out of this position, getting back into growth stocks. Another big piece of news, Bitmine Immersion Technologies, Tom Lee's Ethereum treasury company pumps 121% today. This is another very big development in the crypto space. And I actually want to share a video with you guys real quick. This is very important to know.
And this is some big news. It's kind of complicated, but probably suffice to say that you all are doing basically what MicroStrategy did with Ether. You're going to make Ether, the purchases that you buy through this, you're going to set this whole thing up like this. You want to explain a little bit?
Yeah, glad to. I'm still a big fan of Bitcoin because I think it is, digital gold. But what we've seen in the last, really in 2025, is the financial services industry and crypto are converging. And it really started with stablecoins, which is the ChatGPT of crypto, right? Because it's viral adoption by consumers, businesses, banks, and now even Visa. Underneath the stablecoin industry is Ethereum. That is really like the backbone and architecture of stablecoins. So it's important to create a project that essentially accumulates Ethereum to essentially protect and have some influence on the network. So that's why we're creating this treasury vehicle to buy Ethereum. The more Ethereum that's accumulated, the more secure the network is. And I think it's also sort of the architecture that future banks will have. When Goldman issues a stablecoin and JP Morgan doing it on Ethereum, as a layer one blockchain, they're going to want to secure it by staking Ethereum. So we're trying to get in front of that by creating a treasury vehicle.
Just so I understand.
Okay, so for the uninitiated, in a nutshell, what he's doing is he is raising capital to buy Ethereum. You buy a share of this Bitmine, what's it called? Bitmine Immersion Technologies. Say you buy a share for $129, and then it stays $129, but he buys more and more Ethereum. Your $129 has a greater and greater stake in Ethereum. So the idea is that you get more exposure to Ethereum through this stock than you would just by buying the Ethereum. Now, me personally, I'm not interested in these treasury plays. I know that's crazy. Like everybody is, that seems to be the thing this cycle. I'd rather just have it. I'd rather just have the Ethereum. Maybe I'll get left behind in this trade, but that's okay. I don't mind chasing the hot new thing. And actually, I even shorted it. So this is the best trade of the week for me. I drew a couple trend lines. I was long it, and then it broke down, and then I took the other side of the trade. And this is a 5-minute candle, guys. So like I shorted it, and like I shit you not, within 30 seconds of entering the trade, this is what the candle looked like. So I caught it just in time, but it was outside of the pennant. It was outside of the trend lines. It was breaking down, and so it was time to short it. And what's crazy is this thing halted. So as soon as it did this, I was like, oh, I won. Immediately I won. I'm going to close it. And I went to do it, and it was halted. And I don't know if you've ever been in a trade where it gets halted, but sometimes it'll open back up. I was worried it was going to open back up at like $68 or something, and then like shoot up to 71. And then because sometimes the volatility swings after a halt can be really like a rodeo. But thankfully, I was able to actually close it out there. It opened back up right there. And, it's not a crazy trade. Believe it or not, I'm not a big trader. I prefer to invest over the long term, informed by trading techniques. So my DCA strategy is informed by trading. So I can squeak out a couple extra percent out of my portfolio or whatever. So, 15 shares at 71, you sell it at 60, 63. It's about $100. Made about $100 in like 3 minutes. Not too shabby. Another one, I've been talking about this one. So a couple of weeks ago, I bought some Shark Ninja. I was talking about, hey, this looks like it's close enough to my Gann angle of support. If you buy now, I would suspect that you're going to get a CAGR of about 30% on that money for the foreseeable future. So I pulled the trigger, and lo and behold, that's exactly where it bottomed. It was time to buy it, and my shares are up, I think, like 30% or something like that. So big shout out once again. Have to thank Tanner Invests. He did a great video on Shark Ninja. I was in this stock for a very long time. Tariff thing happened, and this is one of the few stocks where I said, ugh, there might be too much China exposure. I don't know if I could actually hang on to this stock. And I saw his tweet just in time, informing me that no, there's not like a lot of Chinese exposure at all. So I said, oh, I can invest in it again, and boom. So that worked out quite well. This is my performance. So let's talk real talk here. There was a big discussion about portfolio transparency. I'm sure there are people out there with a portfolio return of like hundreds of percent. Good for them. I do have my suspicions that some people's public portfolio, it's like they only put their high flyers, or they might have like one or two portfolios where it's just like, oh, it's 100% Palantir, Nvidia, and only the cream of the crop, like highest growers. But like they wouldn't actually put all of their eggs in that basket, if you know what I mean. This is my actual retirement portfolio. This is the actual performance of the entire fate of my life. Okay. And I'm the blue line. The S&P is the yellow orange line. So my strategies work. I figured it out. Now it's been easy to make money during this period of time because we've been in a bull market. However, you'll see right here, we had a big drawdown at the beginning of the year. When you are on a higher beta, which means that there's more volatility, which means that you'll have more upside, you'll also have some more downside. And that's why it's very important to know what you own. When the market started puking, I knew that my portfolio was going to puke even more. But I didn't sell. The worst thing to do is sell out after you've already lost all your money. No, I knew to hold on and go, when the market turns around, my portfolio is going to rebound even stronger than the market. And sure enough, that is what has happened. And so right now, I'm happy. I'm happy with an annualized 34% year-over-year return since market bottom. Perfectly happy with that return. And honestly, you should too. I mean, they say 8 to 12% is what you can expect per year. 34%. I mean, that's tripling the performance. You're cutting your time to retirement over in half. You know, if you can keep up this sort of performance, which I hope to be able to do. Okay, this was funny. So the other day, I give Dividend Dude a hard time. I think a lot of people do. I don't hate the guy. It's just a totally different mindset, totally different investing strategy from what I do. But he was like so hyped. Google wants 180. The sleeping giant continues to slowly awake from its slumber, and he shares this. This screenshot, and it looks like it's just going parabolic. And then you look, and it just says 0.26%. It was up 47 cents. So I had to post this. Dividend investors, when their stock goes up 0.26%. Some people just can't handle the volatility. If you want these kind of returns, you have to accept that volatility is your friend. It's just part of the game. If you want great returns, you got to accept great losses for a period of time. And it's true of the S&P 500 too. I mean, even if you invest in the S&P 500, you're still getting these big 20% drawdowns. So why not enjoy much larger returns? That's just my philosophy. They're scared of the big drawdowns. So, okay, cool. So let's take a look at the charts. First thing I want to point out, this is the S&P 500, and I want to show you the logic behind this chart, why these lines are there. This goes back to 1993. This is a Gantt square. It points out market symmetry, similar to like Fibonacci's. And if you take a close look at it, you'll see that we found support on this angle, found support on this angle, broke down, found support here, broke through, trying to find support, finally find support right in here. And often there are important junctures that happen on these crosses here. Does happen. Bounces up, kind of climbs this, finds resistance, tries to hold, tries to reclaim, falls down to this Gantt angle, finds support, finds resistance, flips, and then since 2008, since the great financial crisis, we have been trying to reclaim this Gantt angle for a very long time. We found support here. It was looking shaky here. And then in recent history, where are we? We have finally, we reclaimed it at the top of 2021. And then finally, we have reclaimed this once again. And I'm going to go into a weekly chart here. So to me, we're in a really good spot to, like, our base has been formed. And we are in a good spot to launch from. We've reclaimed the Gantt angle. Our point of control is right here at about 600. So we have levels of support. this Gann angle, this fib level, this all-time high, this point of control. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of support, only 5% below where we are right now on the S&P 500, which means that we're in a really safe spot, except we are hitting the Gann arc. We're hitting the Gann arc. This is where resistance usually happens. And so this is how the weekly candle formed. The next weekly candle is going to open right there, right on the Gann arc. And so next week is going to be a real crapshoot, like a real crapshoot. I expect a lot of like hopes and dreams smashed for bears, like some chop. I expect some chop next week. However, the market is so strong right now. It's irrationally strong right now. We are in extreme greed. I don't know if you saw the fear and greed index, but basically I have a 50-50 chance that there's going to be chop, like a 30% chance that we just launch and people are left on the sidelines even more than they already are, because we have a lot of institutions already on the sidelines chasing this now. And then there's always that chance that we come back down, maybe retest the point of control here and form, a little thing in this area. But that's not what I think is going to happen, you guys. I see a lot of positive catalysts, and we're going to look at crypto after I go through the stock. So if you want to skip to that section, it's probably about 15 minutes from here. But crypto looks ready. Like, it looks ready. So I suspect that we're going to have really strong markets over the next 3-4 weeks, and it's going to push us into this arc. We're probably going to hit 650. We might even, go on a run into the fall that brings us to the top of this arc. And then into the rest of the year, we might see us come back down to retest this, or we might flip this and ride this down for a little while and then come along here. Either way, big picture, you guys, big picture. This whole area, I expect to see between now and call it November of 26, we'll just call it 2027. Between now and 2027, I think we're going to have a lot of chop in these, the 8% from here. I don't think we're going to go too much higher than that. I don't expect to. And so, but long term, I think we've reclaimed this Gann angle. And long term, we're going to be, by 2030, I would expect to be at 860. But you're going to have a lot of time to accumulate in this area. That's what I'm seeing on the charts, at least right now. That's my expectation. So I wouldn't fear buying here. I'm not fearing buying. I'm always trying to buy at the best prices. I'm trying to DCA smart. I have a monthly budget. I try to find the best stocks at the best times. But I am very much in a buying mode. I don't see any negatives, there's always a chance of a black swan, but from what the chart looks like, I see a lot of support down below. I see a lot of resistance a little bit higher from where we are right now, and I expect there to be uncertainty and chop. Uncertainty and chop for, after this bull run, or after this, I think we're going to get a parabolic move, guys. I really, there's a part of me that really feels like we're about to get really irrational. We're in extreme greed. That's going to blow off the top, and then we're going to have just consolidation for a while. So that's my outlook overall on the S&P 500. Now let's get into individual stocks here. I'm going to start with NVIDIA because this one looks phenomenal. It really does look phenomenal. We're sitting right 151. That's a fib level. That's a support line that it launched off of, and we are on our way to 180. That's what it looks like to me. And if this thing does just keep launching and goes up to 180, the whole market's moving up, and that thesis that I talked about is playing out. Do I suspect that we're just going to bust through like the Kool-Aid man? We might, but once we get up here, I think the gains are going to be slower going. So when it was down here, this was the time to buy, but I don't think it's not the time to buy. I think this whole triangle right here is just like a great buy zone because you have a lot of support, and it's NVIDIA. You you can survive a downturn back down to like $120 and be like, all right, I'm going to buy more. You're not scared when you're buying NVIDIA. ASML, kind of in the same spot. You got this nice Gann angle growing right here, and it is growing at a nice CAGR. It's a 28% CAGR, so love that. That's that's where you want to be. Palantir. Oof, what do I want to do with Palantir? I think, if it just pushes and I'm able to, and it really like pushes up to like the 190s in a short amount of time, I'm going to take profits. I'm going to take profits there because I think it just, I'm sorry. Like that would be just up too fast, even for Palantir. But it's going to be really hard, you guys, because this thing just defies gravity. It really does just defy gravity. So it's hard for me to say what this thing's going to do. I see a lot of people saying like, oh, like 120. But I personally, like if you look at this anchored volume profile, this gap comes all the way down to 100. And I do have a Fibonacci level right here at 104. So if you see a lot of weakness in Palantir, that would be where I would be waiting to buy more, like 104. Let me just pull it off Logarithmic and see if there's... Okay, so 108. 108 maybe? Yeah, I would probably do 108. So those $4 isn't worth missing the the boat. It's very hard to buy dips on this because you don't get many. But yeah, so that's Palantir. Spotify had a bullish engulfing at the 1.4 and 4. I'm expecting this thing to drop down to like 675. You might even see it come all the way down to 600, which is the point of control. You have 613. So like this is kind of like a buy zone right here, in my opinion. If it gets to 600, would be a great time to pick up some Spotify shares. What a great stock this has been, truly. It's been an incredible hold. And even if it breaks down, this is what's beautiful about this chart. Even if Spotify were to break down and come down to this Gann angle here, as a long-term hold, let's say you bought today. I'm going to drag this out 52. Let's do 2 years. If you're going to buy Spotify, you should hold it at least 2 years, right? So if it breaks down, 104. So if it breaks down, comes down to this other Gann angle, and then rides that Gann angle for the rest, for another year, you're still up 77% if that were to happen. I'll take that, and that's like a bear case kind of for me, for technically speaking. So Spotify is still a buy, very strong. DoorDash, ugly candlestick pattern. This is dark cloud cover. I would expect this thing. DoorDash could have some trouble. Could come down to 209. So I am sitting and waiting. I'm not chasing DoorDash at these levels right now. Shopify. Let's see where Shopify's sitting at. So Shopify came up over the Fibonacci level here. It's got a big volume shelf protecting it at about $108. And I expect this thing to be pretty good. So let's go 52 weeks out. If you were to buy today, bear case or base case, you're up 13%. Not too bad. I have a feeling, though, that you're going to, long before, within the year, I think we're going to come up to 176. You're going to have a 50% gainer on your hands. But, as time passes on, it's going to come down. So 52, let's see here. I still think that's a good bargain. It's Shopify, 13.5% CAGR, from here. I like it. But it's not on the top of my list of things that I'm buying. One of the things that's actually, if I'm still buying this, is SoFi. Now, SoFi, this thing, the strength that this thing is showing is incredible. This could be like $25 before you know it. There's a lot of catalysts going into this. They got to lower rates soon, right, guys? The student loan thing, it's not getting forgived. They reduced the amount that the federal government can give as far as student loans go. So they're going to have to go to a private bank to get their loans. And if you know anything about SoFi, student loans is actually one of their biggest businesses. So that's a positive catalyst. Then you got crypto coming out. I mean, there's so much good news coming for SoFi. If the Lord gifts us SoFi at 1575, you can feel pretty confident that we're bouncing from there. And we're probably, it would be great if we could get a nice cup and handle so I can accumulate more in this area, because I don't see it coming down to $13 again. And if it did, I would just be buying more, guys. I'm not yet to the amount of shares that I want to have, but like at the same time, I have enough shares where like sometimes it makes me feel nervous how much SoFi I own. But then I remember that this guy is leading the company. This is one of the biggest reasons why SoFi is one of my biggest positions. The CEO is a winner. Attended West Point, graduated Army Ranger School, Hall of Fame inductee for the Army football team. I hope I'm not getting that. Well, yeah, Army Rangers. So the guy is going to score a touchdown with this company. He just is. It's going to happen. It might not outpace Robinhood. It might not outpace Hims, but I feel way more conviction in this stock than those two, because leadership is just a steady hand. That's the way I view it. I see the leadership of Hims and Robinhood as like run and gun, which I like that too. But I feel like I can get market outperformance in this stock while getting the safety of owning like UNH. This feels like a blue chip in the making. And so I'd rather own these shares, build a huge position that I may never sell. Or at least this is my next Costco. I bought Costco 10 years ago. This is my big play. So I see SoFi doing great things. Yeah, if I get a chance to buy it like $15 to $16 again, you best believe I'm buying more SoFi. Just know I'm buying more SoFi if that's what's going on. AMD is a big name too. AMD, on the weekly, we came down to retest the GAN ARC, and we found support there. So you could see some continued weakness. I want to see like 125. Actually, here, I want to see. I want to see more granular into this. So this is volume. I don't know if you guys have ever used this. I just started using this. I've seen other people use it, and I like it a lot. Let's get more granular. Work. As you can tell, I just started using this. Sorry. Row size. What if I do this? Oh, okay. I need to go the other way. I'm trying to get more granular. There we go. Okay. So here's your air pocket right here. This Fibonacci level 130. Let me pull the logarithmic scale off. Okay. So 123 to 130. This is my dip buy box right here. Probably 120, 125. If I see 125, I'm buying another chunk of AMD. This thing has been flying high. It's going to fly higher. I'm pretty happy with my position size. Like I bought a pretty good amount, like right here and right here. But I want more. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I want more AMD, and I don't even feel bad about buying it right here. And I'll tell you why in a second here. So this thing is moving very fast. I like it. I like to buy on these gain angles if you haven't figured that out. But let's see here. If I go 104 out, so that's 54%. So that's like 20%, 25% per year. 2 years out from now, and that's a price target of 208. Is it probably going to be a lot better than that? Yes, but that's like my base case. So it's still a buy even right here. And let's see here, 137, 125. I mean, really, in the grand scheme, is that big? Does it matter as much? Probably not. But there's just so many names that I want to buy. Like I still don't have enough Uber, and I was telling you last week, I wanted to see this thing close like about $98 because then I'm just going to feel a lot better about the levels of support that are below. You can see here that like the volume is kind of dropping off too. So, I want to see it close up there, and then I'll start DCAing into it. I'll probably have like a buy schedule that I start to DCA into it because I feel like I would be chasing that position. At the same time, look at all this consolidation. Like this is, if it were to drop down 20%, like I wouldn't expect it to go down 35%, So that's Uber. Meta. What can you say about Meta? The thing, dude, Mark Zuckerberg is poaching OpenAI developers like he's an NBA team. It's actually really funny to watch. It's actually fascinating to watch Mark Zuckerberg like turn into like a little bit more cutthroat. Like he started doing jujitsu, and like he's just not fucking around. You know what I mean? Like he's quietly not fucking around, which I like that in a company. Meta, admittedly, is one of my larger positions. Like it's in my like top 5 positions. So I like it. I think it's better than Microsoft. Better to have than that. So it's sitting right on a volume shelf. Meta could be a buy right now. CrowdStrike, dude. This one's like Palantir and DoorDash. I mean, it's just hard to catch. It wants 540. It wants to get up here into the 600s. If it were to get into the 600s, man, I mean, you probably should buy or sell some, but I'm not going to sell some. I'm just going to know that I should not be buying anymore at that point. Now, if this thing doinks and comes down, so gets some bad catalyst, while everything else is going up, I might trim other positions to buy it at about $400 because I see, a pretty good spot right here that I could see it coming down to, but I see no reason for it to come down, and it looks strong. I have no expectation that it's really going to go down there. I'm just not buying it right now. It's just a little, RSI is a little high for me to be like throwing money at it. There's other things that I like, AMD or Shopify, other things. Honest, I came out right here. I came out of some of my shares, and when it reclaimed this, it reclaimed the point of control, it reclaimed the Gann angle, I said, back in. So I have my position rebuilt, and I'm ready for the launch. You see the MACD is loading up. We crossed under and over the 50 line in the RSI, and so yeah, I think that this could get rowdy real quick. I think it's any day now. We do have earnings coming up. When is this? Oh, it's just not going to tell me. Okay. Well, here, when is that? August 4th. So we have 30 days going into earnings. I think that this thing is going to rally into earnings because people are going to remember, oh yeah, they're profitable now. They're making money. Maybe the trade war thing is going to be over this week. We might get a catalyst there. So honest, as far as like a trade, I'm liking I'm liking it. Here, let's take a look at, let's draw some trend lines just for funsies here. So we had a high here. We're following this pretty much, and it broke out. So yeah, so it's broken out of this downward trend line. Yeah, I fully suspect it's going to break into the $5.50, $6 probably this week, barring any like catalysts like headline risk or something. But that's my expectation. Honest is probably one of the best names to watch this week and to look into if you've never heard of it. Shark Ninja looks great. Oh, I don't have a, let's do a little volume profile. Let's see how we're doing. I think right here is a good place to put it. Okay. So I think probably what the most likely thing to happen is it's going to hit this and maybe come down to like 104. I don't really see too much weakness happening here for very long, and it probably will break through this level right here. We did make a higher high here. high, low, high. We got to make a higher low. Maybe the higher low comes in at like 93 bucks if we're all lucky, so we can buy some more. But that's not my expectation. If the whole market does what I think it's going to do, this thing's just going to run away from me, and I'm never going to be able to buy as many shares as I want. But I did at least get a lot, like right here. So I'm pretty happy with how quickly those gains came on. So Joby found support on the $10 psychological support line as well as the GAN level. So I like it. I think, it's hard for me to buy more of it right here. I just want more structure, and you might see like a liquidity grab, like coming down to $9 again. But you have a decent amount of support, only 10% below, right in here. If you ever get a chance to get, buy in there again, I doubt it. Probably maybe the most you could hope for is like $9. So Joby, we have our eyes on. I have a very small position in this. Zeta, I have a slightly larger position in, and this is sitting right in the buy zone. It's right in the buy zone. I would add more, but it's just a new position. I don't like to go crazy. But it's a good opportunity here. You're in a accumulation zone, in my opinion. You got your GAN angle here, you got your fib level, you got all these levels of support, point of control, everything. Pretty much $13 is the lowest I would ever expect this to go. That's like 16% down, so you could lose some money, but I like it. HIMS, man, this is an ugly chart, isn't it? It's, that's tough. It is finding some support here. But I wouldn't go crazy about it. It's just broken structure, and there's headline risk. It's just, if you're super conviction, if you just believe in it so much, like you're buying it up here, you're buying it down there. It didn't matter where you're buying it. But if you're trying to be strategic about where you enter your position, I just don't see anything about this chart that screams, okay, now buy me. Toast. Yes. So point of control, 42.38. We built a base on the old all-time high. Now we're moving higher. I think it's a buy. I think Toast is a buy right now. I'm a little I made a little bit nervous because there is a gap right here, and so something could send it down to like $37. But I would probably just buy more because I like this company. My outlook is that we're heading up to like $48 next. Let's take a look at Tesla. How could we forget Tesla? That's a 2-week. So the GAN says buy me, I believe, last time I looked at it. Because if you go out, if you go out 52 weeks, you're at 24%. That's an acceptable gain for me, and I would expect there to be a decent amount of support at about 250 if you ever got it. We're in this little pocket right here. Those are usually good buy zones. 302. I did pick up like a half a share, I think, or something. I added a little bit right here. I already have more Tesla than I ever expected to have. If you would have asked me years ago, are you a Tesla investor? I'd be like, hell no. I get it now. But yeah, there's better stocks to buy, in my opinion, right now in this point in time. But if you were to buy it here, I wouldn't hold it against you. And then Archer's sitting right on support. It's sitting right on the point of control. I might buy a little bit more Archer this week. I've been slowly adding Archer, Joby, Zeta. These are all kind of like small positions, but if you get a 5x, that small position becomes like a respectable position within your portfolio. And fascinatingly enough, we're right at the IPO price, $10. So pretty crazy. All right, let's take a look at crypto. Crypto looks good. Bitcoin looks good. I got my trend lines drawn. Here, let's go to a daily. So you can see here where, you know, the moment of truth is coming up, and you're going to see that in a lot of these charts. The moment of truth is coming. So the price to break is the all-time high, of course, 112,000. If you see 113,000 on your screen, just know that we're going to 120 quick. You're going to see a big pop. So I'm bullish heading into this week for crypto. And really, I mean, you got one here. Let's see what day this is. July 9th, the day that the tariffs are supposed to end. That's like the day that these trend lines converge. Fascinating. So that's where Bitcoin's at. Levels above that I'm looking at 128,000. I also have this channel center, which would probably be right around 120,000. So those are levels to watch if we break to the upside. XRP, similar thing. We got a downtrend line that we did close above 225. 225 is pretty much, I think, support here. 220 at the very least. I think, what was this? 215 is your point of control. So, yeah, I think if it breaks above this, it starts to move very fast. Let's go to a weekly chart here real quick. And just a reminder, the kind of move that I'm expecting out of this. A little measurement thing here. So just to get to the all-time high is 45%. And my levels that I'm looking to sell at, I'm not selling anything until we hit $8. Maybe a little under $8, just because of the psychological support. But I see 8.26 as the next Fibonacci extension up. And after all these years and all these recent positive catalysts, do you really think it's not going to make it to that? So that's just my minimum. I'm not selling at $5. I'm not going to sell at this Gann arc either. I'm waiting until we get there, and until we do, I'll keep buying dips, you know. And ultimately, I'm seeing like 26, 27, maybe even $35. That's what I'm seeing, you know, long term. Maybe not even that long term, depending on what kind of positive catalyst we get. HBAR is also in this descending channel here. You'll notice a lot of these charts look alike, but we are breaking out slowly but surely out of some of these. So if I take this, see how we 1, 2, flip it, come under, flip it again. So we're making our progress getting out here. I'm not going to go over every single one of these. There's a few on here that I think are most important, like Ethereum, of course. Ethereum has 7 hours left in the weekly candle to close above 2550. It's at 2547, so it's close. We'll see. You know, it is actually above right now. The next level up, though, guys, I mean, it's 3,400. And if it starts making a move in that direction, I guess 3,000 is here as well. But with all the news coming out with Tom Lee and everything, wouldn't be surprised if, you know, this thing put in like a 30% candle in like a week or two. Solana still behaving exactly, and Solana is like almost my pulse on the entire crypto, ecosystem, like the whole market, because this Gann angle is holding up beautifully. Point of control held up beautifully. It's sitting right on support. I've tripled my Solana exposure in the last month or two. Not that I had a ton, but it was just, look at the last week or two, I should say, because it's just doing exactly what I thought it would do. I feel like I have a really good read on Solana right now, and if there are positive catalysts, the next level I see this going up to is $215. That's 40% from here. And once we start breaking all-time highs, it could get real crazy. either way, base case, like if you want to take a long-term view and if you think like, this line, you could have this be your long-term support trend line. And if it breaks it, then you sell out of it or something. But like, if this holds for 2 years, you're 10xing your money. Not too shabby, right? Not too shabby. All right, and then Dogecoin for the culture. We're separating ourselves once again from this Gann arc, and we've been stair stepping down on this Gann arc for a period of time. We based for a very long time. The measured move on this. Let's do a little measured move on this. Okay. This is gonna be real scientific, by the way, you guys. Something like that, dude. Could you imagine $15 Dogecoin? Won't fade it. My 1.618 is $4, and if you get the 2.272, which is what Nvidia did, $24. So Dogecoin could melt faces. I don't have a ton invested in here. Usually, what I do, say Solana is $150. I'll put $170, and then I'll, like the extra $20, I'll throw into Dogecoin. I just throw little bits and pieces at it, and maybe one day it'll just like make a move that makes those little dollars turn into a vacation or something, and then it's totally fun money. That's all that should be. All right, we're gonna call it right there. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed all of that. Don't forget, please hit like. Please hit the subscribe button if you enjoy this video. And if you have any questions for me, any thoughts, if you saw something that I was missing, please, I invite those comments down below. And until next time, Risky Ryan, out.